All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you folks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, and all that.
All right, welcome to the 261st episode of the Drinking Partners Podcast. Although that may be an incorrect number, we actually need listeners, because we got some listeners who've been here the whole time. Yeah. Correct us on that. Let us know how many actually came out, and if you've been to a live one that didn't come out, add that in there. All right?
Yeah, we be drinking forgetful juice on this thing, man.
We drink 261 times you've seen somebody drink. That's more than your best friend. All right, that's a lot of you. You know me for drinking. Like, you don't know me sober, and you should come meet me. Meet me sober. All right, I'm half of your host in tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined as always with my co-host Dave Brace. You say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epiccastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play.
We Googleable.
And Spotify under Drinking Partners. And you can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. 200 some episodes, man, about 8 some years, you know what I mean? We've been asking y'all, and we will continue to ask y'all, please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review. That's how we know we're doing well. That's how we let others know that we're doing well. And that's how we continue to do well. So please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review.
Listen, you love us. You used to see us in public. Now you kind of see us again because it's warm. We back outside a little bit. Back on the stages. You just see us. You told us you love us now at the click of a button. Please tell the internet. Please tell the world. Tell everybody about us. Tell us what you want to see or hear from us. Tell us who you want us to interview, where we should be, where we should pop up, all right? And as always, in lieu of rates and reviews, if you don't want to do that, if that's not your thing, we still accept shots of Hennessy, but we've also added to the menu Glenlivet.
Right.
And we're live here at Emerald City. So what we do, the staple drink of Emerald City is Uncle Nearest. So we got Henny, we got Glenlivet, and of course Uncle Nearest. They was on the festival, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so come on, man, hit us with a shot or something, man. Take a shot with us. That's what you want to do.
Hit me with your best shot.
Hit me with your best shot. Man, didn't know we knew the song. Yeah, I know how that go. That was in a commercial or something, man.
They was so
You can catch us outside too. I don't know when is this going. I don't know if this might be like the last one or if this might be after, but Ed Day in the Berg, right? Yeah, you can catch us in perpetuity on the very local. You know what I'm saying? Ed Day in the Berg. We travel to all the hot spots and all the hot neighborhoods, and also we're on the very local app, so you can always, catch it if you couldn't make it. And we've been doing the live pop-ups for the premiere of the episode, so whenever this come out, go to that week. Check us out on the internet. Go to that one and see us in public and bring a shot.
You can also catch us live August 12th. You know what I mean? Down at the Strip. Stacks at 3 Crossings. Barrel and Flow. You know what I mean? 75 breweries, 30 goods and service vendors, 30 food vendors, 15 nonprofits. We got art exhibits. We got live brewing. We got STEM projects. We got music and food and art and just good people, man. Good vibes. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got conferencing on the Fridays. We got brunch on the Sundays. We got Barrel and Flow week. Listen, man, there's a lot of things that we got in store. And if you wanted to figure it out, you know what I mean, you want to know what we doing this year, check out barrelandflow.com. I mean, get your tickets now. The early bird is over, right? But we in that mid-season. Get them before that price goes up.
We in mid-season form.
We're in mid-season form right now, you know what I mean? Get them tickets before July hit, because once July hit, the price goes to the regular price. You know what I mean? I mean, so you still got that little bit of mid-season, you know what I mean, discount that's going on. Get them tickets early or whatever. And if you're looking to support, if you're looking to participate, hit us up, barrelandflow.com.
Listen, the vibes, the art, the education, the people, and last but not least, the brew, right? We have it all. There's always vibes around us. There's always vibes where we're recording now. We're in Emerald City. Look them up online, too. Look for membership rates, right? You want to network. You want to get your network up. Come down here, man. And it's dope because this is like a real collaboratory episode. Is that a word? It's collaboratory. Can we look that up, Buzzy? Buzzy's our research guy as well. Collaboratory episode because we in Emerald City. It's Barrel and Flow. We got a collaborator in both, or a member of Emerald City, collaborator on Barrel and Flow. We got Sydney Davis, founder of Artist Talk Mental Health, and she didn't think I would land that plane. Say what up to the people.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, that was such a nice hi.
Oh, my gosh.
Hi, I'm going to act nervous. I'm going to act nervous. We're not going to accept that because you used to put your nipple on hats.
That's true. I still do. I still do to this day. Okay, hey.
There you go. Now that sounds like a
How
nipple hat I
doing?
can wear.
So for the folks that don't know, tell us about Artist Talk. Tell us about Niplids, and tell us, how those projects came to be.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. Okay, so let's start with Niplids. I kind of started entering the artist world in Pittsburgh. With Niplids, I started that for my godmom. She had breast cancer and lost all her hair, so I started making these nipple-printed hats to support her journey. Donated 20% back to a local foundation here. Friends and family started to buy it, and then other people started to buy it, and then, you can find me outside of Red Fishbowl slinging hats right in front of the gallery, or all around Pittsburgh, or at Barrel and Flow. So, whatever's going on, that kind of introduced me to the artist world here. And then I established Artist Talk Mental Health, which is like my new endeavor, connecting Black artists with Black mental health resources through panel discussions, workshops. We have a cohort going right now. We have a quarterly event series. Every 3 months, we have an event at a local, some type of art space. We're also taking that to Philly. So April 29th, we'll be having the first Artist Talk Philly. So we're moving and we're growing. And I want to continue to do that. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
She's humble with the big shit. The home of fit, just moving it out of town. And that's dope, because hearing about the backstory of Niplids, because my wife brought home a hat, it was a burgundy one. And she was like, yeah, this is Niplids. And I was like, what does that mean? She's like, it's a nipple on the lid. I was like, all right, so these artists is getting out of hand. They just doing anything. But then you get the backstory, and it's like, oh, that's great. And so you can attach your creativity to a cause, and you can signal boost for the cause, but also raise some money, give back. And I think that's dope. And I think
it's also dope that, because there's been so many heads on titties. It's nice that now there's titties on heads. You see what I'm saying? The support is going in the other direction. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So shout out to that, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know many people in the world that are doing it. So
yeah, I was trying to make a good point, and he just, he started motorboating. And you know what? Motorboat Records. That's how I was trying to start that in high school back in the day. But moving from that, so behind art, I guess there's always a purpose. And for me, I don't consider myself an artist, so we don't always see it, and we don't always. Why don't I consider myself an artist?
Yeah.
Because when I think of art, I think more visual.
Okay.
And so, and that's how you've I've been conditioned to see it as that. Now, I say that, and people all the time, why not? You still just. I'm like,
sure.
Yeah, but I'm just talking shit.
Yeah, when you say nipple on your head, it's not nearly as artful as when you put the nipple on your head. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You actually make the thing. We just say it.
We just saying shit. As comedians, that's how
y'all
I
actually
think about comedy.
making shit happen.
I'm cracking up. I think if you have a creative process, you're an artist.
All right.
Everybody got real quiet on that one. Yeah, so that's something that's very individual about Artist Talk. Through our how the events work is you get up, you present a piece of art or perform, and then you talk about your mental health behind the art. And what we do that's different is we work with all types of artists. So I've worked with furniture designers, glass blowers, comedians. I've worked with singers, rappers, poets.
That
was going to be my question.
I feel like if they get too much mental health, they stop being funny though. I don't know. Is that how that works?
I think
at what point do you just finding that take away from the art? Now your shit all pale.
I'm all healed.
I feel like a lot
I don't want to say fuck that. I don't need this attention anymore.
A lot of the stand-up that I see, it looks like therapy on stage.
Oh, that's what it is.
I mean, when Dave Chappelle is opening up and pouring out, he's laughing about it, but most of it so he doesn't cry is what it looks like.
That's what Langston Hughes said. Comedy is laughing when you have every excuse to cry.
Okay. I'm going to get quiet on that one.
What discipline of art have you seen be most receptive to because comedians, for example,
okay,
when we express, we're verbally expressing. So this is an expression that everyone can see, right? If I'm talking about a situation, I can't hide behind that situation. Mm-hmm. With a visual artist, a painter or something, we don't know if that's coming from you or just some shit you've seen. So who's been most receptive to, if you can even...
here's the thing. I go through applications. Like I said, we have a cohort going right now. And how do you judge mental health?
I don't know.
For an artist?
I don't know.
You can't.
You the artist.
You can't really. You can judge people's art and maybe see where they're at, and judge isn't the best word, but I don't think that anybody that's willing to get up and explain their art and be vulnerable, I think is I think is an amazing thing. So I can't really judge or put people on a scale. I mean, people getting up in front of a room and telling you what their art is and opening up and really sharing the story behind it. That's, it's priceless. I can't really judge that.
Yeah, I feel like the better the art, the more fucked up the individual. It seems like, I mean, like it's a weird, but again, I think that's the thing that we, it's nice to talk about. It's like, okay, yeah, that has traditionally been kind of a thing, right? Like where, entertainers and, when they say, check on your strong friends and things of that nature, like artists typically are those people in a lot of regards because they do make things more beautiful. They do kind of are those people who, brighten up things. It's entertainment, right? You know what I mean? So oftentimes they become the people who people dump a lot of things on and don't expect.
I can relate.
You know what I mean? That it's not reciprocal, right? Because it's like, if you're fucked up, then everything is fucked up. It's like, wait. You're supposed to be the one to keep it together, right? So
yeah.
I could see the need for, a service that you provide,
And I think that's part of artist superpower is turning all that into something beautiful. Right. It's like you turn in a situation that you went through or an experience, and putting it in a painting so it makes sense or people can relate to it, and making it make sense for somebody else. I just went to a gallery opening the other day, and this artist was asking different people what they saw. And when they were describing it, what they thought they saw in the picture, I picked up what they were really describing was them. They saw themselves in that art, and it was their interpretation of themselves in that art. Right. I'm sorry.
It's like one of those those pictures that you have, and if you stare at it a while, it pops something out.
Yeah,
that's exactly what just happened there. It was
it's you relating and correlating it with something in your brain.
The artist didn't even. That ain't even the artist's explanation of that piece. He done painted a piece of his neighborhood.
And they're like, I can see myself in the cracks on the sidewalk.
He pissed on the canvas. And put it on the wall, and they're like, "Ooh, I see so much of myself in this."
But that's what I was trying to get at when I was asking the question about what artist discipline has been most receptive to your idea. Because I look at introverted and extroverted, right? So if I paint something, my meaning can be in there, and you could just see it as, this is dope. I could paint some shit, have some whole meaning behind it. They'd be like, that just shit look good, and it matches my coloring pattern in my living room or whatever. But like an extroverted art where I'm standing up, being on stage as a comedian, you're vulnerable. You're on stage alone. I have to make, anywhere from tens to thousands of people have a similar thought.
That sounds so scary.
It sounds scary, right? And then if that thought comes from a real life experience where I'm self-deprecating or I'm talking about myself, that's a vulnerability that you're putting on the table.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that visual artists hide from it, but it's are they as responsive to, hey, let's come to this room and talk about the things behind the art? Is that something that's held close to the artist, the meaning behind it? You know what I mean? I don't want you to have that.
I mean, I guess I can only speak on my experience and what I'm most receptive to, with the artists and who I kind of understand the most would probably be singers or rappers, right? Because we're so used to that language and understanding it easily. Painting, you kind of have to get the concept and understand where the mind was at and understand the story and understand the characters in that story or whatever's on the painting. So it's a lot more dots to connect. So I can speak on my end what I'm most receptive to, and that's words and language. So poets, singers, rappers, but I can't speak for them.
So I mean, you started out with Niplids and and then got into what you're doing now and whatnot. But a thing that people don't often talk about, is how did you get the word out? You know what I mean? How did people figure it out? How did people find you? How did you connect to the people?
The nipples were on the hat. Yeah, I'm gonna at least check it out.
So
I'm gonna follow up with that one.
Yeah, but there's a lot of cool projects out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But nobody know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's how do you find that? You know what I mean? How do you connect with your audience?
Oh, wow. So in so many ways, I go out and I find them. Whenever I first started Niplids, I was just showing up to parties or game nights or different things. Anywhere I could bring my book bag to, I'm pulling up with my book bag. I'm laying my hats out on the table. I'm like, hey, this is my stuff. As soon as I see somebody walk up to them, I'm like, oh, yeah, by the way, these are my hats, and I tell them the story, and I try to sell them. I did the same thing
at my trunk.
Basically, almost like boy with the mixtape rap.
We serving
Master P out
serving. Yeah, but Yeah, so it was doing that. It was signing up for local pop-up shops like Barrel and Flow, connecting with galleries and just asking them like, hey, do you mind if I set up a table out front? Because I see there's a lot of foot traffic here. It's an art gallery, so that's already my audience. Finding places that are already correlated with like people that would actually buy my stuff. A lot of people like to admire artwork in Pittsburgh, but not buy it. Buy it, guys. Buy the art.
Because we don't understand it. We don't understand it. Like, I can go look at something and say it look fly. Like, I'll look at something, and working with artists, too, I'll look at something and say it look fly, but I don't know if I deserve that in my living room. I don't know if I'm capturing everything that you put into that.
You don't see yourself in the art.
Yeah, and I also
I don't know what I'm supposed to see.
I also don't like, I mean, it takes education to understand, to breed appreciation, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, and, like I said, if I look at something, I don't know how many hours, I don't know the technique, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that sometimes art is just, again, there's certain art that just gets sold just because of the name. Once you get to a certain point in the art world, your name, kind of your status or whatever kind of does that or whatever. But like, the thing that as I got older and started to like really appreciate art more, when it became more educated, was the understanding of what goes into art and like kind of raises the value, the amount of hours or the technique or the creative process that goes into that or whatever. So like that's the thing that I feel like is the part where, especially like a place like Pittsburgh that is very sports heavy and things of that nature or whatever, while we do have a robust, like, Pittsburgh Cultural Trust and Heinz Endowment, very like, like a lot of grant funded arts programs or whatever, like, I feel like the education isn't quite there to a point where like, people can go in there, just the average folks, and just go into like an art gallery and be like, oh, let me appreciate like, the fact that the canvas costs this much, art supplies cost this much.
Symbol.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, the studio time costs this much, right? Yeah, I mean, those are things that like you kind of have to educate a populace before they're able to like, and then also you got to like pay people because like, fuck, this is broke out here in Pittsburgh, man. Like, I mean, the
populace, the first time that it's made an appearance on the podcast.
Yeah, like that's what I liked about the Fitty shop was that like like art was no more than $50.
Yeah.
And that was approachable. I was like, all right, cool, like 50, 500. I'm like, is this gonna be the one?
Yeah, definitely. But I think
gonna be one.
I think it's like you said, it's like going out and like connecting with your audience and making sure that they know your story. Another cool thing about, sorry to keep plugging myself, but Artist Talk Mental Health.
What do you mean?
No, but that's
nobody
thing,
else is here.
I'm cracking up. No, but that's another cool thing about Artist Talk is like it's giving an opportunity for artists to get up on a platform and be like, hey, not only is this my art, but this is the story behind it. And then also you get to hear that person's story, their mental health journey, and connect. And like, what chance do you get to do that as an artist? Not only explain your art, but also like talk about yourself with, remember the behind the musics? Where the artists would get up on stage and they break down the lyrics, like Kanye did one where with the We Are the Roses, and he's like, when I'm talking about chick, that's my grandma. When I'm talking about We Are the Roses, I got 7 aunts, so I meant like we're bringing us, we're the flowers. So like that's the point behind it, is like breaking down that story. So you're like, now when I listen to that song, I listen to it different. I have a different understanding, a different love, a different respect for Kanye or different artists. So I'm like, okay, cool, let's recreate that so that people could connect with them on an intimate level.
See, I like the analogy between, visual art and music, right? Because there are artists like Kanye where there's a deeper meaning behind the music. But then there are artists, I'm not going to say nobody's name, where it's just the music is just whatever, right? So in your field, do y'all identify it as like, yo, he ain't true to it? Like he just
6'9",
he just doing
these 6'9" motherfuckers.
I ain't asked you to call nobody out, but is that something that artists see in another artist?
That artists see in other artists?
Like someone who's like trying to make just art that's like just so people can buy the shit and that looks good. There's no meaning behind it. It's just like this is digestible.
Yeah, like some people are in it because like the love the art, and some people just see it as a business.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you can kind of like, I feel like you can kind of, I mean, at least when you look again, when you're talking about rap, right? Folks who get into music or this, that, and the other because they think it's a lane.
Right.
And they're terrible at it. but they're good promoters.
People buy their music.
Yeah,
they can find some shit to
because
exploit
they're good promoters, and because they're good, like, because they're good businessmen, but not exactly the best, say, artists. It's not the most deep and meaningful thing. It's like they'll ride a wave, right? Yeah. And just be like, all right, cool, let me just mimic this, put these things together, package it, sell it, boom. I mean, the industry is full of that, pop art, I mean, things of that nature or whatever, like, as opposed to somebody that's just like tormented and like trying to put their like soul on a thing and fighting, and just exposing themselves, and then it happens to resonate with people, right? Like I feel like there's those two, right? There's those two. Right.
Well, you can see, and for example, in comedy, you'll see a comedian that's just telling shit, talking about shit that everyone can just relate to. They ain't talking about shit about themselves. They're just like, you almost get to a point where in order to make it, you gotta be safe for everyone. You're not being vulnerable enough. You gotta be safe for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just wondering if visual artists see that in other artists and like.
Yeah, I mean,
I ain't saying shun him, none of that.
No,
look at that motherfucker with it.
It's definitely
like he don't even be drawing that shit. That's AI art.
It's definitely part of the culture. I mean, but is one wrong? One's just a business person, and one's more focused on the art. So, like, they both have their places in there. But yeah, I mean, the art world's full of ego. Y'all know that.
I don't know
people
that.
Judging people out here for sure, 100%, because somebody feels like they could do it better.
But how can you? As a visual artist, say I could do that better. Like that's a whole technique and story behind that. Yeah. How can you look at something and say, I could tell that story better?
I don't know, because I can't relate to that mindset. I've been blessed in a sense of like I don't know nobody else putting nipples on a hat. You know what I mean? Nobody could step in my lane and it has a story. It was connected to a real life experience. Same with Artist Talk for me. Like there's way too much work that needs to be done out here. So kudos to you if you're doing the same work as me, and let's collaborate. But like I'm not out here like, oh, they didn't do this right or I could do that better. I'm just staying focused on what I'm focused on because that's all I have capacity for. So for me, I don't know. Do I hear it in passing? Yeah, but I try not to like get sucked up into that energy.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Ain't no hate coming.
But I've heard it through the grapevine in Pittsburgh sure.
I love social media. I love the little jabs, the little
subtweets.
The subtweets and the video, you know what I mean? I be subtweeting.
I don't like
I'm gonna have to check out your Twitter.
I don't like none of that, yo.
That's what I love about because we're able to do what we do now because of social media. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have the means of self-promotion the way that we do now. You know what I mean? And also expression in other ways, whether it's self-promotion or having those conversations or, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Like now again, it can get petty and you can get a little whatever. And for me, a little Schadenfreude with a little let me see what the drama is, especially like when it's like real hyper localized or something. Whether it's Pittsburgh or like art or beer or whatever, you have your little pockets of social media. I just saw something on Instagram and it made Instagram go crazy in Pittsburgh. The meme said if you can date a girl in Pittsburgh, you can tame a lion. Did y'all see that? It was that difficult. It was anti. You're not even from here, but
wait, let's time out.
Not that I'm defending us.
He said that ain't y'all ain't even that difficult.
Respect.
And
no, I didn't mean difficult.
So I'm sitting in a room with folks who only met me in my later life. They only met me.
Welcome to Pittsburgh.
I don't know. I've tamed a few lions out here. I'll just say that. Out of respect to wifey, we sitting in your space, but
but I just mean it made the internet go crazy because it's one of those things that just kind of, like you said, Schadenfreude, where you throw something out there, and I think she had like 500 comments in 2 hours. I was like, oh my god!
If you align Pittsburghers with something that they think is great, you gonna get the response because they gonna act like taming a woman is like taming a. Y'all just women like other women, bro.
Had an opinion.
Because y'all just like other women.
I was scrolling through the comments like, okay, this is what y'all doing.
Y'all just like other women in all states, man. It's the same everywhere. It ain't no different here.
No. It's
the same, brother.
I think
it's the same,
Pittsburgh in general is a weird ass because nobody know if we East Coast or Midwest or down south.
Ain't no difference in Cleveland.
Motherfuckers think they in New Orleans. You know what I mean? I ain't even gonna lie. There was about half my life I thought I was from New Orleans. You know what I mean?
I'm dying.
Motherfuckers had to tell me Master P wasn't down the street. You know what I mean? Like it was.
But that's Midwest in general. So when you go to Cleveland, we big on down south. We big on No Limit, Cash Money. All 3-6 was big.
Yeah, I mean, it was all kind of 3-6.
G Unit came in like. we don't have a specific sound. So I don't know what that sound was.
That was from Dipset.
No, y'all had the Bone Thugs sound though. That was Bone Thugs came.
But here's the thing about Bone Thugs was our Niplids. It wasn't nobody. See, they from Chicago.
Oh, they from Chicago.
There we go. There we go. The Crucial Conflict and Bone had a little beef. There was already Twista.
People
before
are definitely
Bone.
confused about us. When I was in LA, people were like, Wiz Khalifa, that's the black, he blew up off of Black and Yellow. And like being from Pittsburgh, that's not when Wiz blew up. We was listening to Cabin Fever. We was listening to the mixtapes, the Plains album. So what? After
Cabin
Black
Fever,
and But I'm just saying though, when you think of Wiz Khalifa, the last song you would think that he blew up off, if you're from Pittsburgh, is Black and Yellow. I can't even stand that song. Like to this point, I just heard so many Steelers. Should I not say that? Let's edit that out.
No. Fuck Black
I
and
might
Yellow.
want to.
I'm a Clevelander on this podcast.
And it ain't even yellow, it's gold. It's supposed to be, I mean,
Exactly.
But that's the art I was talking about.
Yeah.
So you got all this Wiz art about his life, all this Wiz art about his life, and then the one that takes him to the next level is the Black and Yellow.
And that's what people know him as.
That's what pisses people off.
And when you go to, I heard it in the club. I had to walk outside in LA. I'm like, not everybody's singing this. Like, it's the theme song for Pittsburgh. When I was in London, they were like, oh, you don't know, I did karaoke out there. They're like, you don't know every word. You you graduated from the same high school as him, and you don't know every word to Black and Yellow. I was like, I couldn't even. What more is there than just saying Black and Yellow over like 20 times?
Black stripe, yellow paint. Nah.
But my clothes ain't.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess for him, right? You have access to the come up, but at some point. Well, you're from Pittsburgh.
You're from around here.
You went to the same high school. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not like you know, but like, cause even me, like I would see Wiz in the O. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God bless the O. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? But you'd see him, and Wiz was the first person that made me jealous. And I can remember because I was listening to Cushion Orange Juice. I was listening to Cushion Orange Juice, and I'm in like this old ass car. I'm driving. I got me a bucket. And I'm listening to Cushion Orange Juice, and I go to the O, and he's there. And everybody's on his dick, and I can't not hate because I'm listening to this motherfucker in my bucket.
How you bumping him on the way there?
I changed that
Hurry up
shit
and
to
turn it
currency.
off. Yeah.
I changed that shit to currency when I left. Like, I ain't listening to no Mesmerize when I leave. I was like, I vow to never feel like that again.
I've never pulled up like you know how you had your pull up banger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And then they're there.
And then they're there. And you walk in and like, this motherfucker, you can't. Yeah.
And we want to educate our listeners. The pull-up banger is essential.
Yeah.
You might change the song right around the corner to pull up at
Your
the
whole
right.
walk-in is based off of that banger you playing.
It's important.
Right? I mean, it's
We judging.
You either start a new one and it's gonna hit on that right dip, or it's just ending as you pull up.
You pulled up listening to that?
Yeah.
It changed the whole car. And so my car was fucked up, so I had to be up on the new shit.
Right.
I couldn't be listening to the shit that everybody was listening to. So I'm like, let me throw this thing on, let them know I'm down.
Because even if you ain't all the way there, it'd be like, okay, you pulled up to the, you got
a little swag about him.
You might not be all the way, but we got something in common already.
It's old, but it's clean. I was banking on. It's old, but it's clean. Keep it right. You know what I mean?
Right.
I pull up, now I walk in, and he was just in there. And I was like,
Now you got a new your pull off.
yeah, well, I had to change the currency. God bless.
Did you have a CD or did you have a tape player connected to the?
Or did you have that piff?
It was on that piff.
Okay.
It was on that
That's where I
piff.
found everything.
I'm trying to think. It was plugged in. It was an old car, so I had to be in the tape thing.
Oh,
the
It
tape.
didn't have the no. It didn't have no
aux,
aux. No, it didn't have no aux. It had the shit that they used to sell. The tape.
But the tape
connected.
connected to the you would have the tape player.
Yeah, it was old.
To a frequency
to the aux or whatever.
Yeah.
The frequency dips. You talking about the?
Yeah, I got too
the
deep
Bluetooth.
again. Yeah.
Oh no, the radio. Oh
Yeah, you connected it to a radio station, and then you turned it to that. Then you turned it to that radio station, and that was your music.
Because then when you got to different cities, you had to find the one that was like.
And it gets a little staticky sometimes, like Whammo is when you drive through the hood for some reason, even though that's where we're supposed to be listening to it.
I don't know if I still had the physical tape.
Okay.
Which means I was in a car that had a tape player.
Yeah,
Right.
And
that got me down because
Yeah, I put that together.
It was wild when you got to the place where it just had the CD player.
Yeah,
because then you was fucked. Because you ain't had no Bluetooth. You couldn't tape aux it. And like, I mean, so that was really the only thing you could do was the little radio dip.
When the one thing where it kind of came out like this and folded up with the screen came out. That's how. That was another.
You could buy that at
before
Best
with the pull up. Yeah, whenever it kind of slide down and go back in, I'm like, okay, he got one of them.
You go to Best Buy with the 500. Let me get that.
Right. Put it in yourself before YouTube. You just had to figure it out. Read the directions.
We use,
Subs? Anyone have subwoofers in the
No one had subs.
I got an amp. So the subs is good enough. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about like these days. And we got to talk about how black culture impacted a lot about what was going on, right? Black culture impacted a lot about the 20 inches, right? Now cars are coming standard with 20s. You know what I mean? And you talk about like systems and shit like that. We was banging out, right? You know what I mean? That was culture. I put that on
like
my
the car
sub,
was going to fall
right?
apart.
You know what I mean?
Because
like
because the system was more expensive than the actual car.
Yeah, I mean, now a lot of these cars come with a lot of standard, like good systems or whatever. Now, all you really need is the amp, right? I mean, you got really good speakers in a lot of these cars, but like the amps is all fucked up, so you ain't getting the best out of there. So you don't need the subs really all the time. Some of them you still do, but if you get a nice amp on there, you can get a lot more out of those speakers. Just a little, word is bond. But again, shout out to black culture for, making that a priority. You know what I mean? Because we ain't the only, we invented the pull up. But we ain't the only ones pulling up now. I mean,
yeah, I'm still jealous.
But there was a time when you had to pull your face off. The
when you had to detach.
You had to detach.
They were stealing that.
Yeah, they were stealing the faces, the radio faces.
The little slender rectangular dip. You had to detach it, and it was just in your pocket. Yeah.
First off, why are guys' pockets so big? I'm sorry, this is random.
Because y'all have pockets.
Because I could never.
We don't have purses.
I could never pull anything off and put it in my pocket. Like, we got the little baby ones.
You've twerked on a nigga that had a whole CD face in his pocket. You didn't even know. You thought he was hard.
At a Kenwood.
You thought he was hard. No, that was his CD player.
At a Kenwood in his boss jeans.
I'm cracking up. Yeah, because I was just like, took what off and put it in your pocket? How?
We done had our wallets, keys, gum.
Everything.
JVC.
Y'all fit whole. Actually, let me not say that. But y'all fit whole burners in your pocket.
We'll get some things in.
Yeah, but that's how I feel when I be taking stuff out of my purse. I got whole outfits in there. I might have to change of shoes, like my laptop, everything, and I start pulling it out, and it's like it's a magic hat.
I feel, but see, but I miss when purses had like tissues in them. You know what I mean? Like my mom would always have a little bit of like, she'd pull out, like, come here, baby.
Not the hard candy.
And a little tissue and a hard candy.
Peppermint.
You know what I mean?
They still got tissue in their purse. It's just down at the bottom. So
I might have whole food in my purse.
It don't even be tissue. It be the extra napkins.
It be all dusty.
It be all
watered down.
Yeah. No.
It was the older ladies at the church putting whole chicken wings in the napkin, putting that in your purse. You might have a whole lunch in there.
Foil with the bread.
Yeah, after church, the cafe. Mm-hmm. Keep it hot till we get in the car. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna say no names.
So how do you connect to resources in order to like continue what you do, right? I mean, a lot of what is an issue. Now, one, it's how do you connect to the people? Yeah. And then two, how do you connect to the resources that support your business? Sure.
So I'll speak about Artist Talk because that's kind of like my focus at the moment. But with any businesses, honestly, I'm very old school. Like, I don't do online banking. I'll walk into a branch. I'll talk to a person. I'll call somebody before I text them. I'll set up a meeting in real life. So I used to just walk into stores. Like, if it seemed like our brand or something aligned in some type of way, or they might have an audience that I could tap into that would be receptive and it would be mutually beneficial, then I'm like, okay, hey, this is what I have to offer. This is what I think you could offer me. How can we work together? How can we collaborate? And instead of asking them to sponsor something, I'm like, how can we work together? How can we collaborate? How can we like come together and create some type of synergy that would be beneficial for your audience and mine? Yeah, so that was kind of how I did it with Niplids. And then with Artist Talk, honestly, it's just me putting myself in a lot of different rooms. I mean, I go crazy on Eventbrite. I go crazy on social media. Like, my screenshot game is insane. But like we were talking about before we hopped on the podcast, like, I went to like 5 different events every day for the past 4 days. Like, the people people support me when I show up at their stuff. And like I said, too, like, you don't have to ask. Y'all didn't ask me to pop up at y'all stuff. I was coming regardless, okay? But, like, I think it's important to, like, immerse yourself in the artist community. You need to see what's going on. I'm a big learner, so I like to go to things just to see, like, how are you guys doing it? What do I like and what do I not like? And how can I, like, sculpt my programs to fit what I think people need or what they'll be receptive to. So I'm just out there being a sponge. I'm connecting with people. I'm telling them what we're doing face to face. I'm going to all different types of stuff. I went to a program at CMU this past weekend, and it was with app developers. I don't know nothing about apps. I just went. I was like, it's a free course. I'm about to be in a room with these people. Who knows when I might need an app? Who knows when an artist talk or one of the artists that I might need would need an app? So I'm out there putting myself in every field. So when I meet with these artists and when I work with them and they say like, oh, I need this random thing or I want to tap into this market that I have nothing to do with, I'm like, oh, okay. I have a whole Rolodex of like so many people because I work with every type of art. So I got people that are like, oh, I got this new studio. I'm giving out studio time. I don't need it, but I know 10 artists over here that might need that. Or, oh, I'm doing a painting class and it's free. Or I have an opportunity for artists to make some money if they do this, this, and that. So I'm just always keeping my eyes and my ears open, always putting myself out there. I'm doing stuff all the time. It's just like going back to school. I'm just always putting myself in that education and like learning environment.
So on the mental health side of things, where did you find yourself? What sort of events or organizations were you aligning yourself with or showing up to their events that got you into, you know what, I'm gonna put this together so that we can get these resources out to other artists?
Sure. So I'll just share a little bit of the backstory on Artist Talk Mental Health. So it started, I was living in LA, but I was here a lot as well, and I was going back and forth, and I realized that my friends that were artists were dealing with the same thing. It wasn't a Pittsburgh thing. It wasn't an LA thing. It wasn't an anywhere thing. Like, we were just all struggling and going through things, and like, people think that artists need paintbrushes and canvases, but people needed to secure food and housing. People couldn't find therapists, so our Black therapists at that. The whole Artist Talk started, I got a grant through the Hines Endowment to go to therapy because I was on multiple waiting lists for therapy. It was a mental health crisis at the time. Everybody was realizing that they needed help with things. I got off the phone before getting that grant, and they told me, yeah, like, we'll put you on the list. It's going to be 18 months before we're able to get you with a therapist, the type of therapist that I wanted, somebody that looked like me.
Yeah, I'm
well, because
it's over by then.
At that point.
Well, I wanted a Black therapist. I wanted something very specific.
Okay.
I've been in therapy for a lot of my life for different things because I don't want to be reactive to therapy. I just go to maintain. I have a very stressful, like, job in the art world. I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. Like you said, a lot of people are dumping their stuff on me. I think it's a really good practice to ask people, do you have capacity for me to talk to you about this first?
And that's the thing. Like, you said that to me, and because we were like in a meeting in passing like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. I don't know what time it is anymore, but like I remember you had said like you had reached out or whatever, and like I be in that space sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many.
Yeah, of course.
Like, you're inundated with messages and whatever. And as much well-meaning as I have, I mean, I don't have the capacity for everything.
I feel it.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's respectful to ask.
And then but then you feel bad because you're like, oh shit, I really wanted to support this person. I really wanted to da-da-da-da. But like, I wasn't able to get out to that, or I wasn't able to do this or whatever. And you were like, oh, no, you were at capacity. That's fine. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh shit.
She gets me.
Like, I was like, oh shit.
24 hours in a day.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, you're right. I was like, the concept of being at capacity and being like, and then just that idea wasn't a thing that I had like really, while I maybe had thought about it in some way or whatever, like it just hadn't really hit me the way that you had put that. And I was like, wow, that is a great way to think of things, is that like there's only but so much that I can do or anybody can do in a certain time, and to seek grace in that, right? You know what I mean? And like really vibe with people who understand that. Yeah. Because if they don't understand that, I mean, then maybe they aren't the right folks to like really spend a whole lot of time because, like people make you feel bad about like this, that, and the other. And it's like, man, I understand you got a life. You know what I mean? You got kids, you got this, that, and the other, whatever. Like, why would I be the first thing on your list? You see what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I mean, and I tell people all the time, we have mental health trainings that we host with Hope for the Day. And that was something that I learned in one of those, and just immersing myself in the mental health world, like I said. But I mean, those are things that were taught to me, and I think it's important to be passing down that knowledge. And that's just another thing we're doing through Artist Talk is like, yeah, you might not know a group of people that know that that's okay to say you're at capacity, but that's what I'm trying to create, that community where it's like, let's talk about it, but then also like, let's stand on it. Like, let's do what we're talking about and let's continue that energy and let's show other people it's okay to like stand on it. Because often in the Black community, it's like we're supposed to deal with everything and we're supposed to do it with a smile on our face. And it's like, I know from hearing people's stories behind closed doors where it's like, oh, this artist in Pittsburgh is at the top. And you would think, like, they're confident. But, like, when I'm doing surveys with artists, the number one thing I see that comes up, and it's like, what do we want to work on? It's self-esteem. It shows up on almost every application. And it's like, but you would think when you see these artists, you would think that, oh, they're confident. They're doing their thing. They got, grants. They're doing murals. They're working with communities. They're leading projects. But they don't need, they're struggling with things like, who am I, or what type of art do I want to make? Am I on the right path? Even though they're doing it, I struggle with imposter syndrome because it's like people, how you were like, oh yeah, you're so humble. I hear that so much, but I really feel like I'm in a position where it's like I just started my work. I've been blessed with a lot of opportunities, but I'm just starting, and I'm trying to stay focused, so I don't want to see nothing shiny that's going to distract me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
Like imposter syndrome, feeling like, oh man, too many options, especially when you grow up with
or
not
am
much,
I this person?
right? If you don't grow up with much or whatever, right? It is a lot, and then to have to accept that you're worthy or valuable, because here's the thing, right? Like as an artist, you have to like try to figure out what your value is,
Right?
while also not developing an ego that makes you a monster, right?
Or listening to what people are telling you.
Exactly,
your value
yeah, exactly,
is.
and listening to people, whatever, because you don't want to buy into the hype. You know what I mean? You don't want to buy into hype. You don't want to become a egomaniac, but at the same time, you need to demand your value. So there's this constant balancing game of like, I deserve this, but I'm humble by the opportunity. And where is that? And that's a shit.
And a lot of times, so the art will exceed like the mental. So you'll get to a certain point before you even conceive yourself being there. And then like, I know with comedy, a lot of times there are different rates for different shows. So like determining your value is crazy because I got a relationship with this person and this show's here versus wait, this is this and this is that. And you're like, well, I typically charge this much, but we was on the come up together. So like you used to get this rate and I'm like, nah.
Or even like you're doing it now. So like
I'm not trying to be a dickhead, but I'm on a bus now.
At 61.
or people just think you got it because you hit a certain thing, but it's like, bro, to maintain it, I need to do this, and if I maintain
Overhead is
it,
different.
then I can keep doing the work I'm doing. But when you start doing favors and you start spreading yourself too thin, and you keep saying yes when you don't have that capacity, like how are you going to put on for other people?
See, I always, so folks like yourselves who've positioned themselves as like the gatekeeper for folks, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean that in a negative way.
Okay.
I mean, that means you're at the door and you can open the door to opportunities, not in a negative way.
Okay.
Like I even deal that with my wife. It's like, we can have this constant back and forth. I'm like, yo, so she'll bring forth something that's been presented. I'm like, well, can you do it? And she's like, well, I'm like, but can you do it?
Yeah.
Because people forget like the life part of this shit too.
Yeah.
It's not so much that I'm just doing this here. I'm doing this in a company with like, I got a whole life.
Yeah.
And you get immersed in, and so what I struggle with now is like with comedy and all the stuff we do, right? Like, it's like, you start to feel like that's my social life, but I ain't even being social in this shit.
It's an obligation, and it's politics.
Like this
It's
ain't
politics. That's what, and like we were talking about 4 or 5 events a day. Some of those, like, those are my friends, and I'm like, okay, this gives me joy and it gives me balance in between the other events. But some of them, I have to go show face. Like last night, for instance, Bunker Hill had their Bunker Hill project, and I think it's East Lip. They had their anniversary. And I wanted to go to it. I got there super late, but I was like, I have to go because she wants to introduce me to the brewers that are across the street that want to do a collaboration for Mental Health Awareness Month. And I want to do this beer. And then I have this event coming up where I need that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a balance, but it's not for real though. Shout out to people just mentioning my name in rooms or in our names in rooms and putting and thinking of us outside of just how they could benefit.
But even the events where it's your friends, those are even different now.
They turn into politics.
It's not. I mean, it's not just kicking it. Like, and I found myself kind of like with Emerald City. I'd be like, but it's just all your people there. Like, you're just like, but I ain't just kicking it. Like, just because we talking and laughing, I ain't just kicking it. Like, you know, your social life is supposed to be something that you curate for relaxation, right?
I don't even know what that is anymore.
Well, so I mean,
people won't understand that about you because you're always out.
Yeah, that's the thing is that like, and I've been like in that same kind of, you know what I mean? Like, because in entertainment, in arts, that shit blends, right? Your friends and family want to do the things that you're doing when they want to kick
they're
it. When
going
they get
there.
Yeah, they're going there. And when they get a night off from the kids or whatever, like when they whatever, they want to do the shit that you're always doing, right? You know what I mean?
And they're like, oh, I see you out all the time. Why didn't you tell?
Like,
And it's like, because I barely made it through that.
Yeah, like that's not like, I mean, oh, you always doing stuff. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm working.
We're showing face.
I'm showing face, and while
I don't
I'm doing
have a time card.
But like, but when I'm drinking at these events or I'm hanging out or whatever, I'm drinking in a professional capacity.
Right.
I said, don't get that mixed up.
But
for
you
my
gotta
turn up. My turn up is different from my my professional capacity or whatever.
I saw you drop a little, Trace.
Respectfully though, we have to recognize how crazy that sounds to someone. Like, I'm drinking in a professional capacity. I'm drinking professional. Everybody trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, but like you have that, but what I've been seeing, or at least what I've been trying to be more cognizant of, is situations that fill your cup versus drain. You see what I'm saying? And like, you know,
balance.
And the thing is that like there's a lot of social interactions, but a lot of these social interactions, especially when you're in arts and entertainment, are draining because you're working, because you're having to do a thing or whatever, as opposed to when you genuinely are just kicking it with your peoples. Yeah. And there's nothing or whatever. You're just that's cup filling shit. Yeah.
Remember sophomore year of college?
Right.
Oh man. Everybody had that one dude that had the spot. Yeah. And it was just random. Like, that's what I miss in life, just the random shit that would happen because we not doing shit.
Yeah.
Because we're collectively not doing shit today, but we doing it together. So we all gonna figure out what we gonna eat, what we gonna drink, what we gonna smoke, and then just we have a conversation. And then hey, you might end up at a spot. Yeah. But you might end up being the spot. You know what I mean?
Or we might be at the playground with it.
That ain't how that shit go no more.
But that's
playground. I've been. Oh no, it's been
wherever. You don't know whose house is open that day.
You on the generator.
Shout out to
weed on the generator.
We in the back of the school. We just chilling on
it. Let me tell you about the little playground over Bates off the Pitt campus, man.
Oh my gosh.
Over by Phipps, when you keep bending that corner and you got that little playground with the bridge. Let me tell you about that. All right. Ain't nothing like pulling shorty on the swing.
No, but I know what you mean, and that's why, like, when I see you at your events, like, I like to show face and support, but that's why I keep my conversation short with you. And it's like, if I have something to say, I want to tell you, and I want to pour energy into you, say like, I'm proud of you, I'm excited to be at the event, and that's it. And then I'm like, all right, cool, I'll talk to you another time if it has something, because you have to set boundaries with, like, don't come up to me and talk business all day. When if I'm not in an environment where we're talking business, don't come up to me and be like, oh yeah, by the way, about this application, because that might be the 1 hour of my day where I'm kicking it. Yeah. So like, I try to be respectful of, like, you're in a space where I know 50 people are going to talk to you today. I'm going to be somebody that's going to pour into you rather than being like, oh, what can I get out of you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's okay sometimes, but not all the time.
Right. And you want to be there in case folks need it or whatever. And again, that's the thing that I've always appreciated about, like, you know, from the gate, back in even modeling or whatever, you've always had, like,
I did used to model out in the day. Shout out to old Sid.
Is this free drinking? This is pre-Niplids.
So
that's how
I
originally was like, really
because you was a runway model.
Hey, yo, I'm cracking up. I used to do modeling and I did some acting with Netflix. I did some stunt double work. So yeah, that was my past life. I forgot about that. Yeah, cheers to old Sid. Clank, clank. Yeah, I be forgetting. But go ahead, tell me about old Sid. Shit, let's get into it.
Wait, tell me about what this man was like on the runway.
Hey, yo, I'm cracking up.
Because now we finally got someone who has some firsthand experience.
He was switching. He did his thing.
I knew you was a switcher.
No, I'm just
I knew you was a switcher. shit. At first, I thought he might have walked out there like undercover brother, but now
I'm tired. What runway? What did we do together? Where did
Willie
we?
G's.
Oh yeah, Willie
yeah,
G's the man. Still to this day. Shout out to Willie G. He put on for the black community.
Yeah,
too.
Malcolm. Yeah,
Yep.
he was doing the thing, but like, but you've always had like a understanding and a kind of respect for things that was just, like it wasn't like just caught up in what was happening. A lot of people get caught up in like they get images and this and that, and what we're doing right now is very important. It's the most important thing. It's just like, so how about we just like have some fun and figure it out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You know what?
cool,
Most of the time, I'm just happy to be there. And my friends say it all the time. They're like, you always have these amazing events. And it's like, my first event with Artist Talk, we were on Eventbrite. I sold 20 tickets. I went in the bathroom. I was a little overwhelmed. I'm a one-woman show, so like I don't have a team right now, but I have a lot of people that help me accomplish goals that are just friends. But when I went in the bathroom, I came out, there was like 50 people out there. 30 people bought tickets at the door. There was like older white men. There were babies there. They were like, sorry, was that weird to point out? Well, I assume you guys knew that the black community was there, but it was just, it was an interesting demographic.
White men bought tickets at the door.
Okay.
I thought they was typically, if they available online, they get them online. They reserve their seat.
I'm cracking up. All right, let me rephrase. There were a lot of demographics and walks of life in the building, and when I came out, I was expecting it to just be those 20 people, and I was cool with it. I was cool with my gang showing up because everybody that supports Artist Talk supported Niplids. Everybody that supported Niplids supported model Sydney D, my past persona. Everybody that supported that supported me with like the acting stuff. So like all my artistry has led into itself, and people know like I'm not doing nothing I'm not passionate about. So they show up. But I just wasn't expecting it. So to be in those rooms and to see people actually come, I'm always surprised. I'm always like, oh, y'all came?
So you've
Y'all
been
came
a model.
to this?
So you've been, I won't say been a model, but so you've been an artist from the gate. So like from day, it seems like.
I've always been an entrepreneur. I won't say I've always been an artist, but I've always been an entrepreneur.
Model. So because I think for a lot, it's like with me, right?
Because she said it right. An entrepreneur. Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
Because I think, speaking from experience, I think one thing that happens too is you come up a certain way with a certain persona, and then it's hard to present this new aspect of you.
Yeah, they're like, oh, now you're this person.
I grow up an academic. I'm super smart. I'm like a quiet dude. And nobody believes that I get on stage and do that because I've been this quiet dude all through high school. And everybody's like, no, not you. And I'm like, no, for real. Like, and I'm actually good at what I do. And it's like, no, not you. It's like, no, for real. So it's like, it's different when you kind of change lanes into art. And
because I'm pretty sure like when they see my face on the bus, they think it's an episode of Cops. You know what I mean? They're like, what is that motherfucker doing on there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, a lot of people reached out to me about when I did Barrel and Flow. What was it called first? Fresh Fest.
Fresh Fest.
And they were like, I told you, I didn't even know I was in Forbes until they were like, hey, we saw your face on this article about beer. Are you doing beer now too? And it's like anything they see me attached to, they assume people will hit me. I went to Uncork the other day. They were like, yo, can you get me tickets? And I was like, I just reposted it. They're like, oh, I thought you was running it. No.
Well, that's a good place to be in.
Shout out to Red Vision too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Randall. That's my boy. He got us
talking about that. But the Coleman, those brothers, man.
And Ari.
Ari and Randall, like between the two, between Red Vision and Ari Coleman, like they
slap
set,
and bang.
They really set Fresh Fest off, right? Like it became because like Ari headlined it, you know what I mean? And it like set this like vibe, like this, they was swag surfing and shit, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know what I mean, like Red Vision caught it. You know what I mean? So it's not just enough to have the moment, but you have to like
document it.
You gotta substantiate.
Yeah,
you gotta
and
substantiate the claims.
Between the two of that, like that was really like when the photos came out and when footage came out of like that shit. That's when motherfuckers was like, yo, we got to get to Pittsburgh.
That's
different.
I mean?
So,
that's what made me take off and get a lot of like funding opportunities for Artist Talk. I'll definitely say that too. Like take pictures of your stuff, get it documented. I got a flash drive or a hard drive, whatever it's called, of this whole journey, the meetings I have with my mentors, the different programs that I'm creating, and it just be stuff in here sometimes, just documenting it. But document your stuff because that's what's going. You could tell people or you could pitch something in a room, but if you have a visual to match with it, that will really allow you to like explain your vision and let it speak for you if you're not the best person to articulate that. But that's what just got us this grant that we reached out and was like, let's do this work in the community. I mean, it's not always about me telling them what we're doing. I'm like, look, we're making an impact. This is how we're doing it. We did surveys. Here's the data. Here's what it looks like. These are the programs we're doing. Like, having everything line for line, like, know what it's going to take to get there and scratch it off. And that's what I do. I come in here all the time. I use these whiteboards. I write down my goals for the day. When I'm done with it, I scratch it off until I'm done. And like that all of those aspects mean something for whoever you're looking at, because it's a board or a team or a group of people that are usually giving you some type of opportunity. It's not always one person. So like, give them multiple things to look at. And we know how to do it now. We got so many tools. Anybody could do what we're doing. Anybody could, a little faith, a little belief, and a camera phone. It don't even have to be an iPhone. Shout out to y'all that don't got iPhone. Shout out to
one thing I'll say about Pittsburgh. They don't have a street team. Like, every time I see you, every time you always got somebody with you that I'm like, yo, they capturing something. And when I met this dude at an open mic,
they was getting something behind the scenes.
He had a street team.
I'm cracking up.
I met this.
Who's on your street team?
We in an Italian restaurant in Bloomfield doing comedy for free. Dude got a street team.
You always you always got the homies. Yeah, I mean,
and shout out to Ange in the other room. She's over here getting behind the scenes for me. She's a dope content creator.
And you always got the homies. The homies always got some discernible skills somewhere, and it's like, all right, whatever. And honestly, some like that street team came from modeling. That's why I had photographers. Okay, they came from the modeling side of things. Yeah, I mean, so I was like, yo, I'm getting to this comedy thing. They
Not like, well, grabbing your face like that.
I got cameras, and they brought it down. You know what I mean? Like,
he's stressed.
The modeling thing is killing me, bro.
But so how do you? So how do you balance like one? And because we got to wrap it up in a sense, but
sure.
How do you balance your nose?
I'm sorry, what?
Your nose.
Oh, my nose. I thought
you.
Okay.
No, but like, because you gotta say no, right? I mean, like, how do you balance your nose? And then, like a lot of gatekeeping and things of that nature or whatever. And it's like you want to try to give as much knowledge as you can to folks as you're helping.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's time.
Yeah.
So how do you manage how much time you're giving to people before you start all right, man, that cup of coffee gonna cost you.
Yeah. I don't ever charge anybody for coffee, but if you want to buy me some, I like caramel macchiatos. But yeah, so with this cohort and different things that we were doing, it was like, who's putting some skin in the game with this application, right? For instance, it's like who I'm asking, like, what would you do in this situation, or how do you value mental health?
When I say your nose, like, how do you manage your time where you say no to opportunities? You know what I mean? Because it's hard.
Okay, yeah.
It's hard as a hustler to be like, no, I'm cool. I can't. I don't have the capacity for that, or whatever. Because somebody offers you money for work, and if you say yes to everything, then eventually it crumbles. Like, how do you?
You won't have everything. Yeah, for sure. I think it's always just how can I help the most people. So, and also like who actually wants to do this. Like, I value my time, and if I feel like you value your time, I'll donate it. Like, I don't know if I should be like saying that out loud. I don't want everybody to start hitting me up at the same time, but I will give time to people. I do office hours here at Emerald City. Like, if you're an artist or something, I just had somebody hit me up. I was like, if anybody needs help with anything, like, let me know. And I got my whole messages got flooded. And they're like, hey, I'm starting a new business. I want to learn how to do this. And they're telling me their business plan, and I've been doing this, and that. Okay, I'm going to give you a half an hour of my time because you've been putting in the work all this whole time. That's how I got grants, was like, I'm bringing them pictures and videos. I'm not telling you what my idea is. I'm showing you I've been doing this work for a year already. So like, people that have valued their own time in a sense, I love pouring into them. And then there's also a question of like, if I can help multiple people, like through the cohort, we have group therapy. That's going to save a lot more artists than maybe like me fundraising for one artist to go to therapy. You know what I mean? And we could also all learn from each other and counterbalance things in that environment. But I think it's always like, how can we help the most people? And then how can we pour into the people that are like, pouring into themselves or willing to recycle that energy and to like teach people how to do that? Because I'm trying to like plant seeds and keep it moving. So,
Succession.
like, are you going to keep, once I pour into you, are you going to start to pour into somebody else, and is it going to be recycled, or are you just going to take that and run with it and keep it to yourself?
That's when Killmonger became the villain in Black Panther, when he burnt the flowers.
Okay.
I was with him. I was waiting for a bit.
Why?
I don't know.
Because he was on some like revolutionary type shit, and he was like, "Yo, let's like bring it to the people."
That's a dictator.
I don't know if he
That
was
sounds
on
like
no
some dictator,
revolutionary
like
shit.
bull rap.
He became a dictator when he burnt the flowers.
became a
because he
dictator.
didn't want anybody
To share the knowledge,
share-
except for
exactly.
who he wanted to share the knowledge with.
That's when he became a
Wasn't on
dictator.
no
AKA Pittsburgh
first-
art scene.
Yeah, at first it was just like radicalism, and it was like, all right, yeah, I mean, we got to upend the system. But
Yeah.
then once he burnt the flowers, it was like, oh no, you just want to be the only one with power.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where, and that's where I
No,
feel
when he
like,
came to dethrone the dude, that's when it was. Because he didn't even try to have a discussion with him. You act like he was trying to talk to him. It was like, oh, y'all gonna rebuff. I gotta take this shit over. No, he came with that. He killed people over that. You see his chest, he dotted his chest up. He killed innocent motherfuckers just to get to that point. He been a bad guy.
yeah, I guess.
It wasn't necessarily his fault. Wasn't necessarily his fault, but he been a bad guy.
Yeah,
He been a bad guy.
He was bad.
He was a bad guy.
He might have been bad.
He was a bad guy. He's a bad guy. When you can't even do tattooed tears because you killed that many people.
He looked good. He looked good being a bad guy though.
Well, what you want me to say to that? What you want me to say?
I'm sorry. I was just over here in my own world. I was like, oh, he was the bad guy.
Yeah,
And you
well-
know what? He looked real good doing that. So,
I don't
you know,
what to
whatever
do with
works
that.
for you.
I mean, I
But,
guess
you know, we don't even have to
his
talk about
body-
that on this
his body-
episode.
His body is his art, right?
Exactly, and it was-
because that's how
it
him
was-
and old boy got on. They
I would have, never mind. I'm not going to say
Listen,
that.
man, you know what?
I tried to tie it back.
I'm gonna let you know. So
Try to tie it back.
what I'm gonna
missed
do
it.
is before.
No, he's gonna ask you some bullshit.
Okay, I'm ready for
What
it.
is your favorite form of potato?
Thank you for pre-warning me. I wasn't even ready still, though.
And
What is my
motherfuckers get on
favorite
this podcast
form?
and act like it's an illuminating question. Like, oh yeah, well, no, that's some bullshit.
I'm not
answer.
a big carb person, but I don't know. I guess fingerling
Wait, what?
What?
potatoes. Oh, is that bougie?
I don't even know
No,
what you
we're
said.
immature.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, they're like these little potatoes that look like fingers. They're not like like cannibalism.
Lady fingers.
No,
But that's dessert.
lady
Lady
fingers are
finger.
cookies.
Yeah, those are desserts.
No, they're called fingerlings.
Lorna doodles.
Let me look it up because y'all making me.
Is that a
don't look at me
Lorna?
like that.
Is it a Lorna doodle you're talking about?
I've never heard of that. Or finger
The
links.
Lorna doodles.
Is it finger links?
Finger
on.
links?
Potatoes. How you say it?
Oh, them is just odd shaped
How you
potatoes.
say it? Fingerling. Oh, I was right.
Fingerlings?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wham
when we
a
put
bam
this
a
episode out,
ding
one of the
dong.
pictures
So what
has
do you-
to be a fingerling.
No.
Those look like hotel
No,
potatoes.
So that's a
That
type
would
of
mean-
potato.
They're like a chopped up
Okay.
hotel
You mean like
type of-
what style do I like it prepared in?
Yes, and prepared in.
I like home fries. I like
Home
home
fries.
fries.
I love
I like
a
them
home
fried
fries.
hard.
Love
I'm
a
a
home
Pittsburgh.
fries.
Go to O'Leary's.
Home
Go
fries.
to somewhere. Grab some breakfast real quick.
So when you say home
I like
fries,
to see them cook it too.
When you say home fries, even then, when you say home fries,
Yeah.
do you mean
Cooked hard.
Do you mean like,
my
the? Do you mean like the wedges? Do you mean like the hash, or do you mean like the
my
the
gosh.
circle cuts? Because all of those are called home fries.
And all
Well-
of those are different styles of art. The
Yeah.
person who's cooking
Yeah,
that.
I mean, are you
okay,
talking
so
about the
when you
chunks?
say home fries,
Okay.
I gotta
Hash,
sit and
Okay.
do a
or
home
the
fryer.
circular dips. What
I gotta
do you mean by
answer.
home fries?
So my grandpa cuts them in the circles, and don't nobody cook
Circles.
potatoes like him. So like that's
a
where
southern-
my
that's
heart
what-
is.
Yeah, that's southern home. Like
That's
I'm
where my
saying,
because
home fries
it's
was-
it's soft, but it's crispy on the outside, but it's soft on the
Oh,
inside.
yeah.
And then you
Cream on the
know,
outside.
They don't
Yeah.
have those in the restaurant. When you say
Clean
when I
on
say
the
home
inside,
fries,
clean
they
on
don't
the
have the
outside.
circular dips around here. They either have the hash.
no, grandpa
or the
makes that.
Yeah,
you gotta be
right?
like a fan. Like you gotta be as somebody. You stayed over.
I grew
you
up on
know,
that.
Yeah, all your
Well,
cousins is there. Your family's there. That's the like wake up, cook for the whole family.
In running a
You just put it in a
business.
pot and flip it.
In running a business, that's not the most efficient potato, so you will
It
not
ain't
offer.
supposed to fit you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you got the
What?
little
So what
cutter
is
dip.
the most efficient? It
Well,
ain't the
probably a-
fingerling.
probably
Apparently.
Probably
a-
a baked potato
yeah,
some shit. You know what I
just-
mean? You
Because
gotta
it's
heat that
quick?
bitch up. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
really
quick.
like that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about liking it.
Wendy's offered it, so you know it's super efficient.
Oh no. The
I'm
most
talking about the
efficient.
baked potato.
The most efficient, honestly, is the home cut fries, and they are one of the best.
Oh, I used to work
Like
at
home cut?
Permanis, and my
And you
arm
do-
muscles.
Ooh,
I used to do
with
the. They be like, you need help? I be like, nah, I'm good. I got this. Imagine trying to do it with the left hand because you're so stubborn to ask for help that and your right arm is burning. So you just keep trying to, and you miss the, So,
sometimes
I
I
know
feel
about
like
that.
I don't fit on this podcast. When y'all share a moment
Day
over
in Sydney
Permanis.
podcast coming to you.
When y'all start sharing
I'm
a
gonna have
moment
to check
over
out
Permanis.
Cleveland. I'm gonna have to check that
I
out.
would
see
suggest
what
you
y'all
do.
got.
You know what I mean? I don't
Not
know
the
about
accent coming in. I would
Permanis.
suggest you do.
I would suggest. Listen.
Boom,
I'm not bad
boom.
Tell me what you wanna do, Permanis potatoes.
I'm gonna keep it real. They had a bigger song than Wiz ever had.
They did.
It don't hit like how his does though.
That's also
I said, it's like
that's
you guys
also
beat
not
from here.
true. That's
Okay.
also not true.
Okay.
That is not true.
Home fries. The real circular home fries. I
cracking
fucks with
up.
that.
Real All right. Well, let the people know where they can find you other than Permanis doing the hawk thing.
I'm cracking up. Okay, so you guys can find our website, artisttalkmentalhealth.com. Our Instagram is artisttalkmentalhealth. What else? Our YouTube is Artist Talk Mental Health. Everything is Artist Talk Mental Health on every platform, Twitter, Instagram, our website, YouTube. Like I said, if you want a niplid, if you want a nipple on your forehead or on your hat, not on your forehead, but it's going to be in that area on the hat. You can find me at Niplids _, that's NIPLIDS _ on Instagram. And yeah, join the gang. I would love to have you.
SNIPLIDS.
_
Don't put the head on the breast. Put the breast on the head.
It's just the nipple, but you know, we could go areola. I think is the proper name.
He's an airhead.
Hey,
Boo! I'm not letting this shit fly no more. I'm not letting this shit fly no more. I'm done. I'm over it.
yeah, but if y'all need mental health resources in Pittsburgh, please tap in with our page. Please come to. We got workshops going. We got events coming up here, Philly. I'm gonna manifest this. I'm gonna throw it out here so that I have to commit to it. I want to have an artist talk in London, either at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. I have a friend.
Shout out to Rock Leopard.
Yeah, shout out to JoJo. She's a radio host and she's gonna help me throw it. That's been my friend. She brought me on for Niplids, got me popping in London. Now we're gonna do it again with Artist Talk Mental Health. So yeah, join the gang, man. We're out here trying to do the work. If you want to be a part of it, we'd love to either you participate or spectate, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with. Like, we would love to have you, and we just want to create a safe space for y'all.
Whether you participate or spectate,
yeah, because I play Call of Duty. I be in there, I die a lot, so I just be watching them.
Tap in. Day, let the people know where they can find us.
Oh, man. If you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play.
We Googleable.
And Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. You can find us on the very local app.
Yeah.
I mean. And then you can find us August 12th down at the Strip District at barrelandflow.com.
Can't wait.
We want to thank Sydney D, because we're not going to call her.
Oh, my
No,
God.
you done brought it out. You brought it out. Now, it's Sydney D.
Not 2 drinks in, too. I might have had 3. Who's counting?
You the one brought up Sydney D. It wasn't me. I called you Sydney Davis. Sydney D is, whatever.
Yeah,
But
we'll go with Sydney D. The government too deep for real.
Word. But we want to thank you for coming in, sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience, right? Sharing your journey. Because
you.
it is important, man, when you're in this arts game, when you just out here and people trying to pull from, make sure you take care of yourself. So tap in with Artist Talk Mental Health. Even if you don't even consider yourself an artist, you're doing some type of artistry, right? But your mental health is real. So just tap in, man. Support the cause.
You making bologna sandwiches. You creative.
Let me tell you something about making bologna
Sandwich artist, that's so
You're
weird.
a sandwich artist.
Tell you something about bologna sandwiches, all right? It's a real delicacy around how you do it, all right? Especially when it's fried.
Fried. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Not too much mayonnaise. You got to have a little bit of crisp. The cheese got to sit right.
Black people eat
potato
mayonnaise?
chips?
How
You throw a
big
little
is your
potato chip
bubble?
on top of that?
Hell yeah. Well, I typically, you know what I mean? All right, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know about that gourmet lunch when you ain't got no money. That 75-cent gourmet. Watching cartoons. But that's not what Artist Talk Mental Health is. It's not 75 cent
Yeah, we don't do
gourmet.
nothing with mayonnaise.
They don't do anything with mayonnaise.
It's black artists, so you know how we get down. We don't really do that.
Her words, not mine. But always,
I'ma stand on it.
As always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family. And we out. the
I'm gonna
new
get y'all
lyrics?
saying
Yeah.
something.
The Alchemist is
Yes.
I wanna get y'all. I wanna get
I'll be
y'all.
back.
Yeah, I gotta see you.
That new Larry Jizzle fire. I was just listening. That was my pull-up to this night. Oh, I said, yo, it took me, they might have hit me to Larry June 4 months ago. I've been listening to all his work.
Yeah.
Man, look, just a vibe. And I think he's at that perfect stage in artistry where he ain't big enough to where he had to change it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wasn't on to him until this video from this album.